Hello, Doug. Nice to meet you again.
Nice to see you.
And thank you for your conference because it was like a pure gold for us. And we learned so much again from you.
Well, it's pure gold for me too, because in preparing for it, I did a lot of experiments that I haven't had time to do before. So it was really good for everybody, I think.
Yes, and I liked very much one thing you said when you started the conference, that it's so important that nail educators to have the knowledge, and that you think that the industry and the future of the industry depends of the knowledge of the educators.
Oh, absolutely. I think our industry is headed down a wrong path. And by that, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation. And people hear misinformation enough, they'll start to believe it's true.
Okay.
So I started thinking about it and I thought, well, what's the solution to this? And well, I'm only one person. I can't talk to everyone. So it became quickly apparent that really educators are the solution to this problem. No educator wants to teach the wrong information, but they don't have the right information to teach. So I thought, well, if I can create something, create the right information and pass the right information on to these educators, well, they can go out and save the whole industry. Because that's what the industry is really lacking, is the correct information. So in my view, I think educators are probably the most important people in the industry. They're the ones that really can change our industry and make it grow in a positive or a negative direction. And I'd like to see it go in a positive direction, as I'm sure most people would.
I really agree with this because I see it in the industry, and I see how much a good educator, skilled educator, can change even the lives of the nail technicians, because they having greater success and the industry is growing in a healthy way.
It's true. One thing I'm always impressed by with educators is their passion. They'll go to extremes to help the industry. And I love that. I feel the same way. I love this industry. So I'll go to extremes to help this industry. When I see educators doing that, it really gives me a lot of hope.
Yes, that's why probably you have this.
Yeah. I said I would never write another book again because you don't make money writing nail books. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. But after COVID, I saw that things were really not going in the direction they should go. And I realized I have the information that educators need. So I thought, well, I'll write another book. And I won't write the book for nail technicians as I've done in the past. I'm going to write this book for nail educators and give them the information they need so they can go out and do what they do best.
Oh, yes, because I already start to read this, and I need to tell you that this is like a Bible for the nail educators. Like, really, we have everything here.
Yeah, that's really what I intended. Normally you would try just to make it simple and straightforward and easy to understand, easy to read, but I said, well, I'll take a different approach. I want to make it more like a textbook, because I know many nail technicians won't want to read a book like that, but I knew educators are going to eat that up.
Oh, yes.
So that's why I said it's worth taking the time to write this book, because I can get that out there and then let educators go and do their thing.
How long it took you to write this book?
It took me 2 years just to write the book, and then it took another year to get the book published.
And you said a very beautiful thing, in my opinion, is that the money what you get from this book, you bought special, say, machines.
Right. Yeah, I thought, well, I can give back to the industry because, I don't make my money doing education. I do product development and I work as an expert witness in lawsuits. That's how I really make my living. But I thought I could take this money and reinvest this money back into equipment and do testing and use those test results that give it to educators so they can be more convincing about what they say. Because people will hear you say something, yeah, I hear you. But if you show them evidence and they can understand that evidence, that's very powerful and very convincing. And unfortunately, scientific equipment is extremely expensive. So every penny I make from the book, I reinvest back into equipment, and I do the testing and provide it to educators in seminars like we have done today, or the last 2 days.
Yes, and we are very thankful to you for this. And talking about this, I would like that we speak a little bit about the myths in the industry.
Sure. There's a lot of them.
Oh yes, we will take just a few of them, which our customer have, which educators have, and which people have generally. One of these is that exposure to UV cause cancer. Can you? I know it's a lot of talking here, but can you explain us why it's not true, or your opinion?
Well, there's many kinds of UV. There's many different wavelengths of UV. Fortunately, the nail industry focuses and uses the very safest of them all, the UV that's closest to visible light. And we use a very low intensity UV. And it's not just my opinion. I've worked with some of the leading researchers in the world that study UV to study lamps and look at what their risks are. And their conclusions are that UV nail lamps are safer than sunlight. We don't expose ourselves to them that often. It's a couple times a month, and only usually for about 10 minutes maximum. And that exposure falls way below what international standards say are safe for workers. And there are international standards for exposure to UV. And you would have to put your hand in the UV nail lamp for 30 minutes every day to exceed the safety standards that are set for international. And I had this testing done to international standards by international experts because I wanted to make sure the answers were correct and the information was correct. And the experts agree that these nail lamps are safe.
Yes, because they have so many studies that they go viral, and they say that UV, generally exposing to UV causes cancer. But nobody say, for example, for tanning studios, nobody say that if you go there, you can have overexposure. But why you think it's only hitting the nail industry with this information?
Well, people do say that about tanning beds, which are tanning beds, sunbeds that are way higher intensity. But there's an old saying that says, bad news can travel around the world before the truth can even get out of bed. And the internet has even made that worse. And unfortunately, people are more attracted to bad news than the good news. They're more interested in it. So a lot of people just spread this bad news without any facts or any information. But when you really look at the studies that have been done, it really shows that these lamps are not just accidentally safe. They were designed from the beginning to be safe. Nobody wants to create an unsafe product for nail technicians to use. We want to make them as safe as possible. So that's why I invested a lot of time and energy into looking into this issue, because if they were unsafe, I wanted to know it. And I want to tell people, hey, be careful, because that's what I do.
Yes.
I'll tell people something's unsafe, don't do that. So I really made sure of it and looked at it from lots of different ways. So I'm absolutely convinced that they're very safe. That's when they're used correctly. There can be some risk. For instance, if you look inside the chamber and expose your eyes to it up close, well, that's not smart. Don't do that.
Yes.
But as long as you're 20 or 30 centimeters away from the lamp and not looking directly into it, there's virtually no eye risk. Now, the problem is scientists are trained to say, never say there's zero risk. So scientists won't tell you there's zero risk to this, but they'll say it's very, very, very low risk. And I like to put it in comparison with the sun. Your client, if they're driving to the salon and it's 15 or 20 minutes away, they're probably going to be exposed to more UV driving back and forth to the salon than they will be during that service. So again, it's not accidental that these lamps are safe. They're designed and intended to be safe. And as long as they're used properly, they're not going to cause skin cancer. That's nonsense. In fact, I've estimated that since nail lamps were invented, there's been at least 10 billion services performed. And if there were 10 billion services performed and these cause cancer, we'd know that by now. There'd be a lot of problems and people would be reporting this all over the place. And you rarely hear of someone saying, oh, I got skin cancer from a nail lamp. It's more likely they got it from the sun. And people just don't think that way. They hear this bad information and it frightens them, which is really why people say this bad information. They just want to frighten you. But when you look at the facts are there's nothing to be worried about in terms of skin cancer.
Oh, thank you for saying this. And what do you think about pregnant women? Because usually they hear from the doctors or some other people that they don't need to, or they need to stop doing nails so the UV lamp doesn't expose to the belly or her body.
Well, not just the UV lamp, even the chemicals that people use in the salon. That's been looked at widely, and no one's ever been able to come up with any evidence that shows that this causes harm to pregnant women. But you know what? There are safety risks in the salon. And when you become pregnant, you're more susceptible to those safety risks.
Yes.
So what I tell people is if you become pregnant, what you should do is what you should have been doing all along. You should have been following, working safely, keeping products off your skin, making sure you properly cure your products, have good ventilation, take breaks, don't work nonstop. So they're just regular safety things that all nail technicians should do, but some don't. But when you become pregnant, that's when you want to really be careful and you want to follow the regular safety regulations. And if you do that, there's no information that I know of, and I've looked hard, there's no information that says that pregnant women are at any more risk than a non-pregnant nail technician.
And this is like from the both sides, technician and customer, right? The same.
Oh, the customer has even less risk. They come every 2 weeks, so they're at no risk at all. Now, some people, out of an abundance of caution, they'll say, well, I'll remove my nails. Well, okay, if you want to. You don't have to wear them. But the evidence shows that there are many, many nail technicians out there who are exposed to these products day in and day out, and they don't have miscarriages or birth defects. So I think the evidence is pretty conclusive that clients for sure have no risk, or practically no risk. And nail technicians have barely more than practically no risk.
Okay.
So I don't think it's really a real concern that nail technicians should worry about. There are certainly concerns. And one of them is adverse skin reactions. In fact, that's probably the biggest concern that nail technicians should be aware of, is that the potential to develop allergic reactions to your products. But the good news is, if you work safely and properly and follow the rules of working safely and properly, the chances of getting an adverse skin reaction is extremely low as well. So the good news is this can be a very safe profession, and it's not hard to be safe. It's actually pretty easy to work safely in this industry if you know how. So that's really the importance of having proper education and proper information. It not only teaches you how to apply the products and prevent service breakdown, it not only teaches you how to make a beautiful nail, but it can tell you how to do all this safely so that you and your client can enjoy the beauty of what the industry can produce and be as safe as possible.
Can you explain us a little bit, because you just talked about safety? What is the difference, like a general difference? Because there are such a big range of product, and I receive a lot of questions from my students, which are like new in the industry, how they can understand which product is good to use, it's safe to use, and which one is not.
Well,
there is any idea how to do that?
I only know of one product that is unsafe to use that's sold in our industry, and that's the Magic Burst removers.
Oh, yes.
The removers that remove a gel in 5 minutes. Anything that can remove a gel in 5 minutes, you got to wonder, what? How's that? Well, the way it works is they use solvents that are used as paint strippers. They put them on bridges that take the paint off bridges. They're actually not allowed for use, but some companies in other countries make these and they put false labels on them. They'll say it's sodium hydroxide or some other ingredient, and they won't say that it's actually methylene chloride. Methylene chloride will bubble off products in 5 minutes. They'll bubble up and scrape off real easy.
Yes.
Well, that's a sure sign of methylene chloride. Whenever I see that, as soon as I saw that right away, I go, oh, what the heck? Because I know about methylene chloride, and so do other scientists in the industry, but we know better than to use it. But unfortunately, some countries are selling this into distributors in other countries and lying about the label and convincing distributors that these are safe and they're selling them. But now that information is starting to come out. But that's the one product I would warn nail technicians not to use. Anything that bubbles or bursts off UV gel in 5 minutes is not safe to use. The better procedure is to file the nail down thin and then use acetone to remove it. Acetone is one of the safest solvents nail technicians can use. It would be very difficult to overexpose yourself to acetone during the normal course of your work. Sure, it can be drying to the skin, but you can fix that by using a lotion.
Yes.
But other than that, there's no product that I know of that can't be used safely in our industry.
Okay, but there is, so I want technicians to understand there are like expensive products and less expensive products. So what is the difference, in quality in those products?
Well, that's absolutely the difference, is the quality. For instance, there are low quality lamps and high quality lamps. A high quality lamp will consistently put out the right amount of UV for up to 2 years. A low quality lamp, maybe after 6 months, is putting out much less UV. So it's not going to properly cure the products. That's one of the biggest problems in our industry, is under-curing products. Because when a product is under-cured, that can lead to allergic reactions. So if we thoroughly cure our product to safe levels, then allergic reactions become very unlikely. So people think they're saving money when they buy a less expensive lamp, but they're not. Because the lamp will have to be changed more often, and they'll have more service breakdown issues. So it's better to invest in a good quality lamp. And how I tell people to decide what lamp to use is, use the lamp that was designed to cure the gels that you're using. Because a lamp can overcure or undercure a gel. And you want to have proper cure, not over or under. And the way to get proper cure is to use a lamp that's been scientifically tested with the gel to show that that gel cures to proper and safe levels when that lamp is used. So it's a mistake for nail technicians to think they can go out and buy whatever lamp they want and use whatever lamp they want, or buy the cheapest lamp, because there's huge differences in the quality of different lamps. So if you want to have the best quality products, you want to use the best quality lamp to ensure that those products have good durability and they're safe to use.
That's true. I saw that so many times, because some of the technicians said, I don't have adhesion, I have lifting, of the product from the natural plate. And usually the lamp is the problem.
Often it is. When they have adhesion problems, you're probably under-curing the lamp, under-curing the gel. When you have brittleness and discoloration, you're probably over-curing the gel. But even overcuring can cause allergic reactions, because a lamp that's too powerful can just cure the surface, but not the gel underneath. So you want to have a lamp that's really designed for the gel. The gel is what determines which lamp you should use. The lamp doesn't determine which gel you should use. In fact, I tell people, never buy a lamp from a company that doesn't also sell a gel to go with it. There's a lot of companies out there just selling lamps. Well, they just want your money. They don't care if it's going to work or not. And they say, oh, it works with any gel. There's no lamp on earth that works with any gel. You have to develop the lamp to work with the gel if you want to ensure a safe and proper cure. And again, the big risk is allergic reactions. I know many nail technicians become so allergic to their products, they have to leave the industry. Well, that's terrible. You spend years developing your skills and becoming really good at what you do, and now you can't work with any of your products. Believe me, that happens a lot. And we don't hear from those people because they go get other jobs. But you don't want that to happen to you. You want to be a nail technician with longevity. And the way to be a nail technician that's around for a long time and successful is to use the products properly and to use them safely.
That's right. And another one, is it right that the nail needs to breathe, the natural nail needs to breathe, and you need to stop applying products time to time and give the nail air?
The reason people say that is because when they take their products off, when they take the products off, they see their nails are damaged. So they go, oh my gosh, my nails are really damaged. I need to take a break. Well, what they're doing is they're not taking a break from the products. They're taking a break from the nail technician, because that nail technician is damaging their nails and blaming the product. That happens a lot. When a client's nails get damaged, the nail technician say, oh, it must be a bad batch. or it must be that product. No, it's probably the way they file. Files are the one thing in our industry that can destroy the nail plate very, very quickly. You can destroy a nail plate in a very short order with an electric file or an abrasive. That's because people tend to over-file. We file to put it on, we file to remove it, then we file to put it on again, we file to remove it. That poor nail plate gets filed to death, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and then the client says, my nails are so thin and so weak, I've got to take a break and let my nails breathe. Well, your nails don't have to breathe, and nail technicians that don't damage the natural nail, their clients don't say that.
Sure.
So when a client is telling me they've got to take a break from products, that tells me they're really taking a break from their nail technician.
That's true. And because you just talked about abrasives, I would like to ask you, because you know we have like a different quality of files of the abrasive paper. Is there a difference between, because you know you see 180 grit file, but there's different abrasive paper quality, China, Korea, Japan, for example, the big ones. Do you think there is a difference between this paper, and we need to consider something about this?
Yeah, it's the grit on the paper that's the problem. There's all kinds of things that can be used as an abrasive. There are diamond files. Diamond's the hardest material we know of, so it's the most aggressive on the nail plate. And then there are softer files, they're very soft grits that aren't as abrasive. So you can't always go by grit size. There are some 180 grit files that are very, very aggressive, and some that aren't very aggressive. But that's easy to control. It's easy to control by the downward pressure you use. If you use a light touch, the file will only take off a little. If you use a heavy touch, the file will take off more. It's same with electric files. If you got your file running at high speed and you're pushing down hard, you're going to burn right through the nail plate. But if you use a low grit a bit and use low speed and you're very, very gentle, you won't take off as much. Personally, I don't think we should even use electric files on the natural nail. That poor natural nail doesn't need that kind of abuse. We can use a 180 grit file or even a 240 grit file and barely etch the nail plate, and you'll get good adhesion if you properly prepare the nail plate. And by properly prepare the nail plate, I mean wash it and clean it, dry it, remove all the oils from the surface before you even start. Unfortunately, a lot of nail technicians skip that step and they use the file to clean the nail. That's not what the file is for. The file isn't for removing oil. It's for putting very light scratches on the surface without removing any layers. Once you get those light surface scratches, the product has something more to hold on to. A good example is if I put glue on this tabletop, it won't stick very well because this is smooth. But if I sand the surface a little bit and I put glue on it, it'll stick really well. I don't have to sand it like crazy to make it stick. I just have to scratch the surface and remove the oils and remove the varnish, and I'll get good adhesion. So nail technicians tend to over-file the nail plate. When it comes to filing, less is best. The less filing you can get away with, the thicker the nail plate will be and the better adhesion you'll get. More filing makes the nail plate thinner, so it becomes more flexible, and it's harder for the product to adhere to a flexible surface. This is one reason why the product sticks so well to the toenail, because the toenail is thicker and it's not as flexible. And when you get a flexible surface, the product doesn't want to stick as well to a flexible surface as it will a rigid surface. So if you keep the nail plate thin, the product will stick a lot better. And when it gets out to the free edge, it won't separate from the free edge. When the product is separating from the free edge, it's almost always because the nail has been filed so much that by the time it grows out to the free edge, it's paper thin. And there's really nothing to support the product. So we get separation.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for all this information.
Sure.
And at the end of our interview, is there any advice that you would give to new educators what are coming in this industry or already became?
Oh yes, I will. The more you know, the better off you will be. They say knowledge is power. Why do they say that? Because it is. The more you know, the better off you'll be and the better off your clients will be. And let me tell you something, nothing against nail art, but nail art is the icing on the cake. It's not the cake. So if you just want to learn nail art, you're not going to learn nails. I have a saying that I say that just because you can decorate a cake doesn't make you a baker. And just because you can decorate a nail, it doesn't make you a nail technician. So if you see people on influencers on social media making beautiful nails, well, I love nail art too. But that's not what the nail industry is about. The nail industry is about protecting the health of your clients' nails and enhancing and beautifying their nails. And you need to learn that first. And once you master those skills, then we can move on to nail art. But a lot of people go out in the field and right away they want to do nail art. Well, again, that's putting the icing more important than the cake, and it's not. So learn what you can learn more and never be satisfied with what you know, and seek out the experts with the real information, and don't be too influenced by social media influencers. Many times they're just trying to show you the tricks and the fun stuff, but that's not the real world of nails. The real world of nails takes knowledge, and it requires skill, and it requires practice, and it requires time. So take the time and become a great nail technician, and it'll serve you for the rest of your life. And your clients will be happier too.
Oh, thank you, Doug. I
Sure.
so appreciate for this interview, and I'm sure it will help a lot of people over there.
I sure hope so.
Thank you, and I will read all of this, and I know we will meet later, and that was a pleasure for me.
And if you're an educator, please read my book and then teach other people what you know. We need to get the right information into the field, and we need people to have the correct information, and we need to bust some of these myths that we've been talking about. Many of them have been around for as long as there's been nails, and they just don't go away. And it really is going to take educators to bust these myths and start getting the truth out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.